submission rebuts point by point each of the legacy carrier allegations. It proves false the claim that Emirates benefits from UAE government subsidies in violation of the US-UAE Open Skies Agreement. Emirates is one of the world's leading airlines, precisely because Emirates does not depend on government subsidies, bailouts and bankruptcy laws, but operates as a consumer-focused, profit-driven commercial enterprise. Emirates has earned a profit for 27 straight years because Emirates is 1, committed to world-class customer service, 2, is well managed, and 3, has pioneered an innovative aviation model, long-haul to long-haul service that reduces costs and travel times and provides unrivaled global connectivity for international travellers, particularly in the heavily populated but underserved countries in the Indian subcontinent and Africa. Emirates is a financially transparent business with nothing to hide. It is owned by a shareholder that seeks to derive value from its portfolio of assets. Over the course of the last 20 years, Emirates has returned more than $3.3 billion to its shareholders in dividends, far outweighing its modest capital base of $218 million, and has also paid out close to $1 billion to its employees in profit-sharing payments, all of which is clearly spelled out in its publicly available, independently audited financial statements. At the close of this last financial year, 31st of March 2014-15, the group's profit was $1.6 billion just before profit share. We returned to the shareholder a dividend of $700 million in cash, and we paid our staff in the group $300 million in bonuses. So how can we be subsidized if we are paying out such large amounts of money to our ownership? And we can afford to give our staff generous bonuses, not $300 million each, by the way. So, Emirates has financed its growth from its own financial resources, reinvesting, very important, in its own business continuously, and utilising a wide range of external financing options available in the market. Each stage of Emirates' organic growth story can be understood from the audited financial statements that Emirates has maintained from the date of its inception. There is no room in any of this for subsidy or unfair government benefits. Throughout its history, Emirates has always needed to be managed and run in a profitable and self-sustaining manner, even during and after the global financial crisis in 2007 and 2008. A period during which a number of allegations contained in their white paper are alleged to have taken place. The white paper conveniently omits to mention that this was a time when governments right across the globe were finding themselves in extremely difficult financial situations, including the Dubai government, which was very publicly working through its own financial priorities and challenges. Emirates continued to grow throughout the period, a feat which would have been impossible if it was reliant on Dubai government funds. On the contrary, Emirates achieved this by continuing to focus on the key drivers behind the commercial success and the fundamentals underpinning its business model. So, the legacy carriers claim to have spent 2 years preparing their white paper by conducting in-depth research across the globe. As this submission establishes, the white paper in fact consists of a series of demonstrably inaccurate assertions, outright distortions, and legal misrepresentations of the Open Skies Agreement. In their white paper, the legacy carriers allege that Emirates has received over $6 billion in subsidies from the Dubai government. This claim is patently false. All of the individual allegations are briefly summarised here, and ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to depart from the executive summary because all of these are treated, whether it be fuel hedging allegations, related party transactions, airport infrastructure, and user fee allegations, labour rights allegations. It is all dealt with in the executive summary that I won't continue to read because we could be here till midday if we're not careful. But not only does it deal with those in a summary form, but in the booklet that you have, it goes into the massive detail that supports everything that we have said. Now, I will then pick it up again, which is on page 6, where we talk about the legacy carriers misstating the governing law and then urge the United States to violate it. Much of the legacy carriers case rests on a single legal premise, that the World Trade Organization Agreement on Subsidies and Countervailing Measures, SCM agreement, either applies to international aviation or is somehow implicitly incorporated in the United Open Skies Agreement. This is a profound misstatement of both Open Skies and the WTO SCM agreement. The SCM agreement, by its own terms, does not apply to services which are covered by an entirely separate WTO agreement, the General Agreement on Trade in Services, GATS. GATS, in turn, explicitly excludes air transport services and does not include rules on unfair subsidies, as these were left to further negotiations after WTO members could not reach agreement in the Uruguay round. Such rules have never materialized. The legacy carriers compound this error by misinterpreting the Open Skies Agreement. According to the legacy carriers, government subsidies violate Article 11 of the Open Skies Agreement, which addresses fair and equal opportunity for the carriers of each party. However, they are citing the wrong article. Subsidies are expressly addressed in Article 12, which sets out specific procedures for dealing with artificially low prices, due, inverted commas, to direct or indirect government subsidy or support. Under customary rules of international treaty interpretation, Article 12 represents the exclusive remedy for subsidy concerns. Article 11 contains no reference to subsidies and is legally inapplicable. The legacy carriers call for the United States to freeze additional landing rights under the Open Skies Agreement would be a flagrant violation of US international obligations. Unilateral actions of this type are strictly prohibited, and Article 12 explicitly provides that subsidy-related restrictions on prices require mutual agreement. Unilateral US action that so stridently violates an Open Skies Agreement would jeopardize Open Skies relationships with 113 other countries, putting at risk all of the significant public and competitive advantage the Open Skies program competition benefits that the Open Skies program has generated along the lines I was talking about earlier. The legacy carriers have failed to show that the objectives of Open Skies have been harmed by alleged subsidies. The legacy carriers have framed their complaint in terms of their narrow commercial interests, but they are asking the United States to undertake a massive departure from Open Skies policy. Open Skies policy embraces goals such as greater competition, increased flight frequency, more consumer choice, promotion of business travel and tourism, improved service and innovation. The legacy carriers have not even tried to argue that these goals of Open Skies have been harmed. Even with respect to harm to their narrow corporate interests, the legacy carriers have failed to make a persuasive case. In no instance have they shown that they have suffered any adverse effects from any alleged subsidies, and they have also failed to show that they have been harmed by competition from Emirates. This is because they cannot make such a showing. The legacy carriers are earning record profits, and Delta is returning $7 billion to its shareholders. Why couldn't they have spent that improving what they do? Investing in product, investing in comfortable seats, and all the things that Emirates prides itself on doing. It's not difficult, gentlemen. Making the consumer enjoy their products, making the staff that they employ proud of what they do. But no, they return $7 billion to the shareholders. We don't do that. We reinvest. A lot of our money in Emirates goes back into product, goes back into fleet, goes back into innovation. We're known for it. We're proud of it, and we will continue to do that. They have claimed that they have lost traffic to competition, but in fact, on every route that Emirates has established to the United States, overall traffic has grown significantly after our entry. Fundamentally, the legacy carriers fail to recognise that Emirates has grown in large part by focusing on markets like the Indian subcontinent that have grown rapidly and yet have been neglected by the legacy carriers and their joint venture partners. The legacy carriers themselves benefit from massive federal, state and local government support of their own. And they come to this debate, I'm afraid to say, with unclean hands. They have received billions of dollars of government support, including US government assumption of airline pension obligations under Chapter 11, airline stabilization grants, loan guarantees, grandfathering of airport slots, bankruptcy relief from debt and other obligations, direct grants and tax exemptions to support airport development, grants of antitrust immunity to form market-dominant alliances, protection of the US market from competition, and a prohibition against major foreign ownership. As we demonstrate in the book, the legacy carriers have received more than $100 billion in government support since 2002, and with other US carriers receive annual benefits potentially exceeding $24 billion. Their suggestion that open skies agreements authorize a government unilaterally to freeze landing lines because of alleged subsidization would put the legacy carriers themselves, ladies and gentlemen, at risk. So, the legacy carrier's real goal is protection from competition and an end to open skies.